What's up, guys? I'm Eric, the retro reviewer for Republic of the Geek, and this time, oh yeah, I'm doing a retrospect on the Friday the 13th series. Hey guys, so Friday the 13th retrospect. There was 12 films in this entire series, and they're still thinking about making more. I don't know why. I mean, he is iconic, but they actually thought about doing one more movie and then lost funding. Like the movie company that was going to take on, because Paramount actually doesn't own the rights, New Line Cinema actually still owns the rights to Jason to this day. So they were trying to push that movie out. And for some reason, as far as all the people I know that are horror fans, they just couldn't find funding for it, so they just kind of completely pulled the project. So eventually, they'll probably end up doing it because horror never really dies. It just kind of sits in a grave with a miasmal stench coming up out of the ground, so it's always really still there. The only problem with that is not really too many original ideas are being made to this day, i.e., the best original ideas were like the Grudge movies or Saw. But as far as iconic characters, they're going to brush them off, they're going to bring them back, and not really even try to force feed them to you. But, who doesn't like Jason? He's a force of nature. Actually, in all the movies, probably in all 12 movies, if you watch them very closely, there's a storm coming every time Jason comes through and kills. There's always a storm brewing on the horizon, and then Jason comes through and just messes everybody up. Actually, 146 people, 146 victims this man has taken out through 12 films. Just kind of put that in perspective. 146 people. So he's like the Black Plague, but in a hockey mask. But going back, May 9th of 1980 is when Sean S. Cunningham actually put out a movie called Friday the 13th. And he casted some people that now are mainstays in Hollywood. Kevin Bacon was in the movie, who actually met his demise, actually, while smoking some of that illegal stuff. Well, some places it's legal, like, Denver, Seattle, places like that. But, he was sitting on his bunk, just puffing away, and then gets an arrow through the neck. Some of the best scenes in that movie where people were actually killed were done by one of my favorite special effects artists, Tom Savini. He actually started on that movie, and he actually worked on a couple of other parts that came out eventually later on. So in May 9th, 1980, Sean S. Cunningham makes Friday the 13th. It was a very POV, kind of like first person, where you didn't really get to see who the killer was right away. Now, pretty much everybody's seen this. Any Halloween that you actually spend, you'll go to any TV station and they'll actually play all the Friday the 13th movies and just keep them on loop. So people pretty much know that Betsy Palmer, who played Pamela Voorhees, was the original killer in the first movie. Jason didn't come around until the sequel. When the sequel came out, a burlap sack has been the scariest it's ever been of all time. You would think somebody with a burlap sack, they're probably not a GQ model. That's why they're wearing the burlap sack. But Jason made it work. He actually made it kind of horrific to wear a one-eyed burlap sack and have a pitchfork. Or not even, I'm sorry, a pickaxe, not a pitchfork. But he went through and messed some people up in that movie. And then eventually donned the hockey mask, which became the iconic part of Jason Voorhees. So throughout that, the only thing that fans really kind of don't like about the series, amongst other things, and me being a fan, I really didn't understand either, is that in A New Beginning, they actually had a fake Jason. It was actually played and portrayed by the character Roy, who was the ambulance driver, who actually watches his son, who is mentally handicapped, actually get hacked to shit. And Roy loses his stuff, so he finds a hockey mask, finds a nice little blue jumpsuit, and he starts taking people out. People really didn't like that movie because at the very end of the movie, it was kind of just a one-trick pony. He falls through some spikes. They realize it's not the real or it's not the actual Jason. It was someone portraying Jason, and a lot of people in just all spectrums did not like that movie. So when he comes back in part 6, it is actually the real Jason. And there was other characters that were actually brought up. Tommy Jarvis was a big mainstay character in that movie. It actually helped the career along of Corey Feldman, who actually has done Goonies and other movies, and kind of built his career. He's even stated that if he wasn't doing Goonies at the time, he would have liked to come back and done more sequels in Friday the 13th. So as far as the character of Jason Voorhees, he will take you and just end your life in the worst possible ways. If you have sex in the movies, guess what? You're gonna die. If you do any type of drug use in the movies, you're gonna die. If you're in a wheelchair, you're gonna die. Anything of that sort. If there's adults around or camp counselors, leads or whatever, they're gonna get killed first, and then you're pretty much just stuck running from a force of nature. The one thing when I was growing up as a kid watching these movies that I really never understood is you could be a track star. You could have actually just won an Olympic gold medal for track. Dude's still gonna catch you. And he's walking. Jason only ran in a couple of movies, which was kind of off-putting to fans. But most of the time, you would run, like, you would sprint in a marathon, like, for a long time. You'd finally get tired and gassed. You put your hand on a tree, you turn around, guess who's behind you? And the guy was walking the entire time. It's just, I really did not understand. Until the 2009 remake version by Platinum Dunes. They brought out and tried to repackage Friday the 13th, and this time, Jason was the killer. It wasn't his mother. Now, in the beginning of the movie, he actually watches his mother get beheaded just like she did in the original movie, and they actually show him in the woods, not drowned, even though that was the main storyline, but he's just kind of sitting in the bushes watching his mother get beheaded. Now, I don't know because I've never watched my mother get beheaded, so I don't really know how I'd really react to that. But he goes on a tear and grows up in the woods, and this was the cool thing about the 2009 version, which was probably the only cool thing about the 2009 version, is the fact that it actually showed that he had made tunnels underneath the campsite. So it was actually showing you how he was able to catch up with those Olympic gold medalists. It was just a cool kind of concept. Like, he would pop up out of the ground, and that's how he ended up behind the person. And I was like, I'm really glad that they actually did that. It also showed in the movie that he had trophies from archery and all kinds of different things on how to set bear traps and all kinds of just different things that you would get, badges in camp for. So that was a really cool concept. Too bad the movie kind of failed in comparison. Nobody really liked it. It also starred Jared Padalecki from the Supernatural series, which I'm a huge fan of. He was actually in the movie, and there was actually 13 deaths in Friday the 13th, 2009. Like, they didn't mean to do that, but it just ended up being 13 deaths. So that was kind of cool. But then, of course, you've got Jason 10, which, wow, Hollywood. Like, I guess there was just all kinds of crap. And try to remake it. Masters of the Universe. Why? Why? I digress, though. Anyways, they put Jason in Jason X because they were bereft of ideas in Hollywood, and they put Jason Voorhees in space. In the future, in space. The best part of the movie was him dunking the girl's head into, like, the water that froze her face immediately, and then smashed her face. Great death. Great kill scene. Too bad that was it. That, and we got Uber Jason, which was like, half robot, half killer. Like, I mean, isn't one enough? I don't know. Whatever. What do I know? I'm just a fan. Then, in 2004, I believe, you had Freddy Krueger, who has been one of my main favorite characters, go against the force of nature known as Jason Voorhees. That movie, being a fan, and it was fan-driven, I was actually really happy with that movie at first. Then the more I picked it apart and dissected it, I was like, really, it's just a bunch of teenagers running around doing, that illegal thing that you're not supposed to do, or unless it's legal or you're prescribed it. They're running around, they're trying to get away, and while they're awake, they're trying to get away from Jason. While they're dreaming, they're trying to get away from Freddy. And then all of a sudden, Freddy comes back, like in every single Nightmare on Elm Street. He gets pulled into reality, he becomes human. But this time around, when he gets pulled into reality, guess who's got he's looking up in a fiery cabin, and he sees Jason Voorhees. Now, of course, he probably you know, dropped all hope. But he got up, and it became almost like a fight scene, like out of Fight Club. Like they just blatantly beat the crap out of each other. And there was a lot of blood, a lot of gore. And then eventually, at the very end of the movie, you're like, who's going to win? Because you had Jason fans, you had Freddy fans. So everybody was kind of split on who was going to win. Monica Keenan, the main girl in the movie, the main star, takes Jason's machete and chops off Freddy's head. So Jason didn't win, Freddy didn't win, but a Caucasian white girl who's never wielded any kind of sharp object in her life takes out an iconic character that's forever. What are you doing? What is that? Anyways, segue. It's not just a vehicle for old people anymore. So you go through all of this, you have all of these movies, and like I said, 12 films strong. The guy has done his time. He's put in the work. He is always and will always be iconic. Hopefully Hollywood will actually sit there and kind of get off of their asses and actually make a new Friday the 13th movie and actually kind of reimagine it to where Jason is that iconic force of nature that he was in the original 80s versions up until the new 2009 version. So hopefully Jason will come back. I'm really waiting for it. I've been a fan of horror for a long time. I've been a fan of Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, Chucky, Pinhead, all these characters that are iconic that I grew up around. I kind of hope that they give, they're giving Halloween another shot and they're bringing back Michael Myers again. So why not Jason? Give that sweet, kind giant with the hockey mask that's kind of split, broke, rusted, old, just brush it off and give it a new coat of paint. Give him a new machete that's not rusted and has like 146 victims' blood on it. Just wash his hands in the greatness that a Friday the 13th movie would pull money. Like, it's going to make a crap ton of money at the theaters, and people are going to buy it. It's going to have a shelf life on DVD and Blu-ray. I mean, people are not going to stop liking Friday the 13th, even though they threw him in space, which I thought was going to kill the series, but it didn't. Because, again, what do I know? But hey guys, if you really enjoyed my retrospect on all the movies, the 146 deaths and demises that happened, like, I really feel bad for that guy in the wheelchair that gets the machete in his head and then just rolls back like 37 steps, but still stays on track and doesn't fall out of his chair. Like, I thought that was crazy. But yeah, if you like this retrospect and you agree with what I'm saying and that you would like a Friday the 13th movie to be remade and actually be done right, comment in the section below. Don't forget to check out the Amazon affiliate for the 12 movies that they brought out. Hopefully a 13th movie. Hopefully. Don't forget to hit that bell icon and get all the future notifications from Republic of the Geek. And check out all of our new stuff on our site at republicofthegeek.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook page. And now that I'm thinking about it, if you really wanted to sit there and think about another horror icon that you'd like me to review, comment that in the section below. Because I'd love to see, Chucky, Leprechaun. Maybe it's just like small people that take on big roles. I don't really know. Because really, what's scary about a leprechaun or a children's toy? They should make a horror movie about Alf. Because, I have an Alf doll. That thing's creepy as it can all be. When you turn the garage light on, he's looking at you. Oh my God. It makes you scared. It makes you have nightmares. And that guy was funny too. But yeah. Anyways, guys. Yeah, like I said, hit up our Facebook page, hit up our Twitter page. Make sure you like both of those. Again, comment anything you want to comment in the section below. Make sure that we're getting those comments in so we can review and retrospect all kinds of different things that you want to see. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.